see that you kind of started to come and you're like, I'm not getting there.
Yeah.
And then, so what am I going to do now? Am I still going to try to get there, which would have been a mistake? Or am I going to get myself back in a position and ready for the inevitable header?
Yeah.
And that's what you do. You go, it's not going to happen. But you don't just say it's not going to happen and get stuck in cement.
Right.
You say it's not going to happen now. What's my next move? And that's professional.
Right. For sure. Well, and I think too, just like that situation illustrates pretty well. Like you gotta know your strengths, because like athletically, everybody's going to have things that are stronger than others. And like for me, I do better a lot of the times with dropping in and backsetting and shot stopping, just because I'm long and I can cover a lot of the goal, and shot stopping is one of my strengths. I'm not as quick off the line as some other goalkeepers. So where some people might, like, you see this bouncing ball and it's really enticing, where some people might want to go. maybe for you that's a great decision, but for me that's not going to work out very well. So it's like I think being honest with yourself and knowing your strengths is a really, really important component.
I also think on another level for this, and we'll take it to whole pro level, is how dangerous is this ball actually if you do stop? It's a flicked up ball straight in the air, right? It's coming down. You're going to make this a debacle if you come for this, and it's going to be a dink right by you, as opposed to how much power is she actually going to get on this head ball? And, you can cover it and make the save. But these are the quick decisions that set you into being a professional and separate people from not being a professional.
Yep, that is the reason I was playing at the Santa Monica airport fields this weekend, because I came out on this ball this weekend, and this like 6'2" dude just dinked it right over me. And he was like, "Why does this 5'8" guy think that he can win this ball against me?" That was a poor decision.
Height's a state of mind, Mike. You got
it. But you learned from your mistake.
Yeah.
But I want to also talk about, just from a decision standpoint, where's the danger here? The danger is the dangerous space, is that gap right there. So as long as you can cover that gap, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's just massive right there. I put a note here. Kids need to see this, because Liv, I think so many kids in this scenario right here, let alone, let's say they don't go for that ball, just right here. So right here, let's say they don't go for that ball. That ball starts bouncing. They stand there and they watch the ball go out of bounds. And a lot of times that ball actually bends in and goes in the goal. And then people are like, "Why didn't you go for that ball?" You're like, "Oh, I thought it was going out of bounds." I've heard that so many times from youth players.
Yeah, for sure.
I also think you'll see a lot of youth players come for this. And, they do the good old, okay, I shouldn't have come for this. Let me make it look like I might get the ball. And I hate to say it, we saw it on some corner kicks this past weekend, that you're catching the ball behind the person, or not, the person's beating you to the ball when you shouldn't have come at all. So if nobody can see this, go back and watch this. You'll understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I love that. Now, was that out of bounds, or you got a touch to it, right?
I think it was out of bounds. But if we want to pad my stats and say I got a touch to it, then I'm all for it in hindsight.
It might be one of those things you act like you didn't.
Exactly. Yeah. There are plenty of those where it's like, it's a goal kick, and it was definitely not a goal kick. But good actor, I got away with a lot of those. So.
Oh my God.
I love that in training and stuff, because when you I would see goalkeepers make such a big save, but you weren't sure if they got the tip to the ball or anything, and they'd be like, "I got a tip." I'm like, "Great, because now you just told us all it's a corner."
Right.
So,
Yeah. In practice, that's cool. In a game against UCLA, when you're tied 0-0, not as cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on to this one right here. This is in the 73rd minute. No, Sophia Cook's not happy with this. Okay, here we go. So this is against Stanford. This is, I think, honestly, another great example for a lot of young players to see in regards to calmness, being professional in the moment, and not panicking, because if you panic, your team panics. In swinging corner kick in traffic by Ali Montoya. Plenty of air under this ball. You're very calm, and then you catch it. And Suska, I know you're a big proponent of this, at the highest point that you can catch that ball. You don't wait until the ball is down here. You catch it at the highest point. I want a lot of young players to see that. And then it's just a simple push out, clear out the box. Don't just try to start a counter really quickly, which I see a lot of young players do. They win that ball and then they throw it out there before their team's ready. So let's go back to.
I think the other thing that's really important about this, not just catching it, but it's owning that area, right? So now what's Stanford going to do after this? They're going to know that anything they flight inside the 6, lofted, you're going to have.
Yeah.
So but what you're doing is now changing how they have to take care of their offensive corner kicks. That means everything they have to do. Now you've made a statement. It's got to be outside of the 6. It's got to be driven. We can't flight the box. We can't flight it because it's a waste of a free kick. And so that is the bigger statement as well here. And that's professional. Like if you can own that area and dictate what the other team is doing offensively, then you're doing your job.
Yeah, for sure.
That's such a massive point right there, Saskia. Liv, I think, one of the things too. That's a
commentator right there. Yep.
You can actually say that now.
Not get crazy.
Oh man. But Liv, one of the things here that I like too is that you recognize how much flight is under this ball. And because of that, you really take your time with that drop step, recognizing, hey, better to be farther back. And then I can just very simply just attack that ball right there. You also recognize that you have space to maneuver. So many young players act as if there's 4 players literally on top of them in this scenario. And they're like, boxing the ball or whatever. You're like, oh no, I have space to maneuver. I have space to move around.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so hypercritical. I think I could have maybe even gotten this a little bit higher. And I think maybe started, Aren't you
at the crossbar? You got it like the crossbar.
Yeah, but I'm tall. I reach up there. But no, I fully agree. And it's funny that you bring up like dominating the 6 and like thinking about what the other team's going to think and how they adjust their attacking corners now, because like one of my goals in college was always, you'd scouting report the day before on a team, and they'll talk about a lot of times the opposing team's goalkeeper and weaknesses or strengths that they may have. Maybe they're good with their feet, maybe they have long distribution, maybe they're not good on crosses, whatever. And I always was like, I want the scout on me to be that we can't flight anything into the box, because I just always wanted to dominate that area. So that was always, I don't know if that ever actually happened, but that was always something that I had in the back of my mind.
No, but it's important because you want, through your quality of play, want to dictate that, and that's a win.
For sure.
And one of the reasons, that I wanted to show these different types of actions here, because these are all, they might look like these are basic activities in these scenarios that are going on right here, but this is what gets you, for young players out there listening, this is what gets you to that professional level, is that attention to detail on the little things. It's not the top corner save, as Saskia always says. It's about that clean footwork, handling this ball nice and clean. Liv, this is the reason why you got the trial and ultimately the contract, is because doing these sorts of little things. And so let's move on here. So now this is, as you clear out right there. All right, here we go. So this is against Oregon State, 13th minute. The ball's thrown in from the sidelines of the 18 to McKenna Martinez, who dribbles towards the top of the box with Chase. Shot is hit. It takes a deflection, it looks like to me. And it seems to me that you recognize that the ball is bending away. So you just redirect the shot rather than trying to hold this, and just play it into a good area right there. And it's just a slight redirect. It's not even like you're trying to like smash the ball, because the ball already has movement on it.
For sure.
So I want to kind of just start right here again. So everyone can see. Ball's thrown in, the dribble, shot is hit, boom.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think also professionally, again, going to the next level, is how many keepers do we see that parry this literally into the wrong area?
Yeah.
So if you do not just get a light touch to let it go out for a corner here, that ball is tipped right back to, what is that, number 8?
Yeah,
or whatever.
8, and then if I try to hold it and I bobble it, I think it's like number 27 right here, and she ends up like stepping over on top of me almost. Where
there's that's the only place other than holding the ball. It's the only place you could put it, but you're totally outstretched, so it's a good redirection. And that, yes, I like, as a coach, you're looking at, you're like, it would infuriate me if it's like, okay, well, great outstretch, but you just put the ball back onto the top of the 6 and you just got it banged into the back of the net. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's a great point. I also, Liv, one of the things I want to bring up as well too here is that because that ball's bending away from you right there, Joe, what's up, dude?
How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good. Just waiting for Saskia to hop on right here. Let me check on her ETA. Dude, you got the whole setup, dude. You got the oh.
Yeah,
You got
yeah. It's the
I love it, man.
Yeah, it's the Xbox setup, so
Yeah,
it's kind of easy.
I literally love it, dude. It's definitely like I feel like we're about to play some online role playing games.
There we go, man.
What's,
That's what I'm doing
going
after.
on. Hey, Sas,
Hey,
where are you?
I'm in my living room.
Oh, okay.
The background changed.
Yeah, it's a background change. It just like
I'm in the den.
Ah, you're in the den. All right, let's get this going. Here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me in a different decor than we're used to, 99 World Cup winner, NWSL analyst, Saskia Weber, getting ready for a big trip to New York City, aren't you?
Well, it'd be Princeton, New Jersey, but yeah.
Okay. Fine. The New York metropolitan area.
There you go. There you go.
By the way, guys, speaking of New York, we've got a wonderful, wonderful guest with us today. New York City Football Club's Luis Barraza making his triumphant return to Inside the 18. Luis, dude, first off, man, congrats, man. I mean, what an amazing journey you've had so far. You know, from college all the way to the MLS game, and now starting in these matches.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's great to kind of look back and think about, you know, all the work that was put in throughout these years, and, you know, kind of see that you know, those seeds reap. And, you know, I think, you know, I couldn't be happier to be where I'm at right now. But, you know, I think once you get to this spot, I think you realize that there's even more work to be done. So I think, you know, again, this is just the beginning.
I can just tell, like, from your voice and everything like that, like how like this is still such a surreal type of experience. And Saskia, I know, you know, you've gone through this journey that Luis has gone through and everything like that. And, you know, to refresh everybody here, you know, Luis came on the show, you know, when he was over at NYCFC, and still, you know, kind of getting some development reps and really learning behind Sean Johnson. And now he's kind of taken those reins, has become the starter at New York City Football Club. And Saskia has a little bit of experience of playing in the Big Apple professionally, and it's kind of a whirlwind, isn't it, Saskia?
It's awesome. It was my favorite place to play when I was playing for New York, and back in the day, the power. But we played out in Long Island, and it's just, there's something to be said about the whole community and that atmosphere. It's a tough atmosphere to play in, though. You know, yeah. You're not always loved.
No, it's a lot of tough love out here.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, Luis, you know, obviously, you know, like we were just talking about, you know, the fact that you kind of went, you know, through the journey of kind of being a backup and then, you know, getting in the starting position. Like, for those out there, you know, kind of unfamiliar with like kind of what your place has been at New York City, like kind of why don't you walk everybody through like how this kind of progressed to becoming a starter?
Right. No, I think I think to kind of put everything together, I think you have to go back to 2019 when I get picked up by New York. That was such a, you know, surreal experience. It's a moment that, you know, I'm never gonna forget, because it's something that you work for your entire youth career, and, you know, there's those moments where you think, you know, am I gonna make it? Am I not gonna make it? So I think, you know, going through that whole process of, you know, the combine, the draft, it's just such a unique experience to go through. And, you know, once your name is called up to you go to the podium, you give your speech, and, you know, you kind of don't believe it until the day after, when you're holding the jersey, and it's amazing. But, you know, I think that's where it starts. And you know, obviously 2019, 2020, playing the role of, you know, the third goalkeeper, kind of fighting for that second spot. You know, once you know, Brad makes the move to Austin, then, you know, kind of get that promotion to being the backup, and then finally 2023 rolled around, and I got my opportunity, and we're here, so enjoying it, man, enjoying it.
I mean, one of the things about that whole thing, Luis, honestly, is that, and Saskia, we've talked about this before, and we'll get into it when we talk about today's topic about becoming a starter and everything like that. But there's so many young goalkeepers out there that they get frustrated with their role at a club, and don't look at kind of the bigger picture. And I know we've had this conversation even regarding to the NWSL, Saskia.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it, and I think the pro players are starting to understand it more. Like, let's take the Challenge Cup coming up. I think you're going to see for the NWSL, you're going to see goalkeepers that are the 1.5s, as I like to call them. Whether it's Lauren Brisky or somebody getting the start in the Challenge Cup, because getting those games in and kind of elevating your worth is huge. And you never know as a backup. Trust me, I know. You never know as a backup when your number is going to be called. I always go look at Tom Brady, and you have to take full opportunity of those moments, because we have 2 expansion teams coming in next year, and these second goalkeepers, 1.5s, get to play, and the next thing you know, they're starting for a Bay Area team. So those moments are huge.
Yeah, and by the way, Luis, this is not the
don't get frustrated.
By the way, Luis, this is not the New York media. You can step in anytime you want. You can interrupt us. We're not going to be attacking you if you got anything that you want to say. But I do want to bring up the fact that kind of, one of the really cool things, speaking to everybody at NYCFC on the coaching staff, they had a vision for you, Luis, when you came into the club on how they wanted to progress you to get to this point. Is that a conversation that you all had and you kind of stuck to that game plan, or did it kind of change as things moved around?
Yeah, no, I think from day one, I was I was kind of given that little bit of a hint of like, listen, we picked you up for a reason. We know what you're capable of, and we want to get you to a place where you're going to be able to step in and be the guy for the team. So I think going back 4 years, I was made aware of this, but it's kind of the you kind of step in and you're like, well, am I cut for this? Am I not? Like, am I really able to do this job? And I think you step in knowing that you can play the game, but there's so many small things, minuscule things that you don't really get as a young guy that going through that process of being the third goalkeeper to now being the backup to now being the starter. There's a lot of things that you learn throughout the years, throughout the journey, where you're like, listen, if I didn't know how to handle these situations of in training or during games, I think if I can easily say if I were to start my first year, I don't think I would have been cut for the job, because like I said, you develop this character, this persona, a lot of little things that come with the job that you don't really understand until your second or third year in the league. So yeah. I think that whole thing was important for me. So I don't really I kind of look back and I'm like, I'm glad that I had to go through what I had to go through.
Yeah. Luis, just really quickly right now, we're having some issues with the feedback. I don't know if it's your headphones or if it's the plug-in or something like that, but yeah. So.
No, but going off what he said, like, you have to look at it, like, even if you equate it to like a college goalkeeper, it's very rare nowadays that you come in as a freshman and you start. You have to get some experience under your belt. There's on the field experience, off the field experience, understanding what it means to be a professional, to train every day, to work with older players, to humble yourself and everything. And I agree with you, most players can't come in and immediately start, especially in goal. And immediately start. Like, you can weed a player in like 30 minutes here, 60 minutes here as a field player, but as a goalkeeper, you're going to have to wait your time and learn. And, that's why, the old adage, goalkeepers get better with age,
Yeah, it's something that you don't really understand.
It's still happening. You might want to
Yeah.
disconnect the headphones and
Cool.
just go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me go. Let me try to connect my. Do these work?
We don't want anyone to lose these gems that you're dropping, dude. We don't want. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, this works.
Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Whoop. Was it just Wi-Fi connection? Yep. Let's see. All right.
Hello, is that better?
Let's see here. Try again. Hello.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Hello.
Saskia, is that better?
Yeah,
Yep.
but he's on a delay.
Okay, cool.
He's on a delay.
Yeah, maybe unplug the whole headset thing. So, are you hearing it?
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah. Oh. Huh. I wonder what it
Let
is.
me try to go get.
Let's see here. I wonder if it's the connection. I wonder if it just let's see what's going on here. Maybe yeah. Let's see here. All right. Let's see what happens now. All right. If anybody here works for the Geek Squad at Best Buy, please contact us right now. Feel free to jump into the comments section right now. All right. Talk right now. And no audio. Hello.
Well, you know I'm not part of the Geek Squad, so.
Oh my God, this is amazing. This is incredible. I'm gonna have a little bit of editing to do after this.
Can you
Let's
just
see.
unplug everything and go live, like off his computer?
Yeah, maybe just go off the microphone from the computer.
Yeah, just unplug everything and use the microphone on the computer.
Yeah, that might be.
Look at
That
me,
might be.
Geek Squad.
Yeah.
Of course, it didn't work.
So just go to settings. Talk now. Hello. Can't hear anything. Go to settings. Go to audio. And check what the mic is. And just use the default computer speakers.
So, Mike.
Or,
So, Mike, how's it going?
you know what's hilarious is because we had this happen at a meeting. We had this happen at a meeting yesterday too.
Yeah, with a tech person. that was kind of funny too.
That was pretty funny. Let's see where. Well, we just lost Luis's camera. Maybe he should just leave the stream and come right back in, and maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah.
That turn it on and off again type of the situation. Oh, there he goes. Let's see. He's gonna probably come back in.
What is it? Hold and reboot, whatever it is.
Yeah. Control Alt Delete.
Control Alt or something. Back in the day,
old school computers.
Way, like Control S or whatever it was.
Yeah. Control Alt Delete. Alt Delete. If you guys are
don't
tuning
do that
into
nowadays, I think you wipe your entire computer or something.
Probably. I tried to restart my computer earlier today, and that would. By the way, I'm on a hardwire now on the computer because we were having an issue with the internet with the Wi-Fi last week. Remember, with that delay. So I'm not taking any chances. I've got a giant, like 60-foot Ethernet cable going from my computer.
Talk about old school.
Into the family room. I'm just not taking any chances. Kind of like at convention, we did the exact same thing at convention because the Wi-Fi when everyone's trying to connect to it.
No, for sure.
Guys, if you guys are tuning in, waiting to see Luis Barraza, we are having some technical difficulties. But while we're waiting for that, let's see if this works now. Let's see. We're going to try to add Luis back into the stream, and let's see. I think we can hear you.
Yeah, talk. How's that gaming going for him?
The only thing I can think of is that it was somebody that he was gaming with, and they were upset because they were supposed to have a game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
There was a game, so they were shutting it down. They were shutting it down. Saskia, while we're waiting for Luis, why don't you talk a little bit about kind of what's going on this weekend in Princeton, New Jersey, because it's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I'm getting inducted into the Mercer County Hall of Fame, so that's pretty exciting. I think they forgot about me for a little while there, and then we ran into Charlie and Verso at a convention, and he was like, "Wait, you're not in the Mercer County Hall of Fame? Wait a minute." So I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Really exciting. It's always nice to go home, like thank the people that actually helped start my career. Thank my parents are going to be there and everything. It's always nice to go home, and it's exciting. So Saturday night we'll get inducted into the Hall of Fame and then hang out with the family a little bit, and then I'm heading down to Florida to.
Is that a little bit better?
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh my God! Hey, we did it! We
It's like my
did.
fifth pair is my fifth headset, so I had to.
Nice. That is perfect. That's it. So anyway,
Dude.
and then heading to Florida to call the first Challenge Cup game on the 19th.
That's awesome. I mean, I think, first off, Saskia, in regard to like the Hall of Fame, that's so insane. I mean, I'm sure that's amazing. I'm sure your parents are pretty proud that they're going to get to be there for that and everything like that. And the fact that, you obviously still have such a strong network and community out there in New Jersey and the New York metropolitan area, it's a lot different than like, if it was like in Iowa or something like that. And it's
I'd be fine with getting to the Iowa Hall of Fame. I'll tell you what, Charlie asked me, he said, wait a minute, are you, because he's introduced me, are you in the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame? I'm like, no. And he goes, isn't the 99 team in the Hall of Fame, like the whole team? And I'm like, you would think the 91 team would be in the Hall of Fame. I said, but no, just the starting 11. So far, I've been inducted from 99. And which is something I have to get on my little soapbox about, is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And it's not just because I'm on the team. It's like the 91 team should be in there. And if the men won the World Cup, they would build a wing at the Hall of Fame to them, and it would be the entire men's team would be in the Hall of Fame, and they'd get inducted immediately. And like, if you disagree with me on that, come on, let's go at it. But I think it's ridiculous that the 91 team's not in there, the entire team, 99, eventually 2015, and eventually 2019. Like, it's crazy. And I said that I had to say that. So I'm really, really happy to be inducted into Mercer County Hall of Fame. I'm with a ton of huge soccer players. We all know how great soccer is in New Jersey and the great players that have come out of there. So to be added to that, it's huge for me.
Speaking of Hall of Fames, though, I think, Luis, one of the things that I think is really cool about you is that, you don't come from, for quote unquote, like a big soccer hotbed factory where like consistently, a slew of players are coming out of. And I know that you've been really proud about the fact of that, representing New Mexico and everything like that. And that, you're coming from that area, why don't you talk a little bit about kind of that? Because, there was no DA team. There was no MLS Academy. Like, you had to go the old school traditional youth independent club, go to college, and then get seen there.
Yeah, listen, before I say anything else, congrats, Saskia.
He's like, I'm not touching this one.
But
thank you. I'm not trying to be like, I needed to say that because the question was asked of me and it was brought back
for
up.
sure, absolutely. Listen, congrats.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I think growing up in New Mexico, you had a couple, maybe two good club teams around the area, and we back when I was 11, 12 years old, we had to join this league called the Regional League, the Far West Regional League, where there was teams from Arizona, California, and that's how we got our competition. And so you had that, and then you also had back in the days, the ODP days, where you went to tryouts, but it would be you and another kid show up for the goalkeeper spot, and you were almost just like given the spot because there was not many kids that would join the program, right? So I think it was a little bit of a weird come up as opposed to guys from Southern California where you have all these teams, all these different kind of I think I lost you guys.
Arizona.
There we go. Yeah.
Did you have to travel like into California, into Arizona to play tournaments and stuff?
Yeah, I think
not like local. Like like for us, like in Jersey, you just stayed in New Jersey and you traveled around, or you just drove to Long Island or something like that. But
yeah, no, I think in the area we almost had to play teams that were 2-3 years older than us because we had such a we were blessed to have such a young or such a good group of guys the same age, right? So that kind of drove us to say, you know what, we need to go to Southern California to play these, bigger clubs because there's no competition here. Otherwise, we end up playing teams in the, adult league that, guys, adults physically, superior to us. So,
Hey, Shan.
I think
this has been amazing, dude. This episode is like a sketch. I swear to God, this is such an incredible. I almost kind of feel like not editing this episode because it's just such a crazy thing going on. Oh my God, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute Susk right now.
There we go.
Oh my God, dude. Oh man. All right, let's just go into today's topic. And that's becoming a starter. Luis, when people think about like becoming a starter, especially as like youth players, they're so focused on the actual moment of becoming a starter, like in getting the game, but really becoming a starter is really about a mindset, right?
Yes, I think it is in a sense because you kind of have to just develop this kind of callous in your mind where it's like, listen, you got to grind it out. And it's not going to come easy. It's not going to appear. The opportunity is going to appear when it appears, and you have to be ready for it. I think throughout the years you really just have to sit back and stay fit, do what the starter as you would do as a starter, but at the same time you're not getting the acclamation or the credit, right? Because it almost goes unseen in a sense, so I think it's difficult at times to kind of deal with the disappointment, but at the end of the day you kind of have to like I said, grow this callus and just keep going, man. Just keep going.
I think one of the biggest things, and for me, just being behind Bri for so long and stuff like that, was you have to make yourself like irreplaceable, even though you're not the starter. Because if you're not on your game, if you're not fit, like you said, if you're not like ready to go at any moment, and your team has the confidence in you that if like the starter were to go down or anything, there's no hitch, there's no change in level, there's nothing, you'll be replaced. Okay, they'll look for somebody that does have that mentality, that is, number one, pushing the starter to make the starter a better player every day and keep them on their toes. And also, like I said, infuse yourself to the point that the team's like, well, maybe Lewis is a starter and not the second goalkeeper, and make yourself indispensable to that team. The minute you vary from that, they'll say, well, we're going to bring up this kid over here and see if he's going to push the starter or she's going to push the starter and make that person a better player.
For sure. No, I think that's a really, really good point. I think you go back to what we said earlier about, the roles that you play when you're, the different roles that you play when you're a third, second, or first goalkeeper. I think once you have a role, you almost have to embrace it, and be the best, third goalkeeper, be the best backup you could ever be, because like you said, at the end of the day, you're there to push the guys in front of you. And if you don't do that, then, there's another guy that's willing to do that. And then, what do you know? The guy gets a spot, and then all of a sudden there's an injury to the first guy, and then he gets the job. So it's kind of like you kind of have to be, grinding it out every single day, because you're like, at any single moment, my chance could be right around the corner, which happened to me last year. I think, throughout the entirety of the season, Sean made the majority of the appearances, and it came to the point where he picked up a knock, I want to say midweek against Cincinnati, and he couldn't play the Atlas game. So they were like, "Listen, Luis, you're gonna have to jump in and do the job." And if I'm not ready at that point, we don't get the result that we get, right? And it's tricky. It's so tricky, because your mind will always be like, "Listen, why are you even doing this?" But at the same time, the other side of you is like, I got to be ready. If not, this is just going to pass me by.
So I got a question for you. You know, obviously, you know, you've been in this situation before, you know, similar to Luis, and then eventually got the opportunity to get in, you know, very, very high level matches, and obviously had a phenomenal, you know, season, you know, in New York. But do you think that the intangibles are more important in regards to becoming a starter than the tangibles, because there's so many players out there that can serve the ball, can catch the ball, can, you know, distribute the ball, yada, yada?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's not just about what are you bringing to the team, right? So what are you bringing to the team when you're not playing? Are you, you know, are you sitting on the bench pouting and bringing a negative energy to your team and not supporting the starter in your team because you're not playing? And how is that affecting the team? You know, you can catch, you can take crosses, you can block shots, you can do everything, but how are you meshing? Are you a pain in the ass? I'm sorry. And are you stressing everybody out because you're bitching that you're not playing, not starting, not doing anything? Then you're out of here, because I can get 10 other people that would rather be here, rather push for the starting position, but add something positive to my team and not bring my team down. And that is incredibly important.
That is one of the most important things you could ever do, is because, you know, as a again, roles, you know, as a backup, you have to make sure that the guy in front of you is, you know, is warmed up and is ready to go, because at the end of the day, it's you want to do it for the team, right? It's you're competing for yourself, but you know, when you're in that role, it's like, listen, what can I do so that, you know, this team is it you know, has a good result, and also make sure that, you know, I'm useful to the team as well. You know,
I've had backup keepers. I've had backup keepers at a high level that the third keeper, whatever, like in the warm up, when they're a part of the warm up, but they're helping me. They're helping me, whether it's services or shots and stuff. And when they rotate in, got an attitude because they want more crosses or they want more shots. And I'm like, this isn't about you. Like, you know, this
100%.
is about getting this keeper ready to play the game. And if I have to deal with you huffing and puffing because you want 2 more reps, and they can take as many reps as they want and step out when they want. They're getting prepared, and you have to be humble enough to say, I got to make sure this person is ready to play the game. That's a great point. And I've had to deal with that. And I'm like, you know what? You go sit. I don't need you to help me. I don't want you a part of this at all. You cannot take reps at all now. And, you know, you're 3, because this is not what I need to deal with, not what my starting goalkeeper needs here at all.
You know, it's crucial. It's crucial. I think when you don't have that, I guess, dynamic between the goalkeepers, and when you have that you know, respect, almost, it's really difficult for, you know, the guy that is doing the job to be ready, right? Because the
energy,
the cohesiveness is not there. So it's really difficult as the guy who's trying to get ready to really, you know, zone in and worry about what you have to do in the game if you have to be dealing with this other stuff, kind of, right?
Yeah, no, I've actually had it to the point that they're like, like, you're taking crosses, helping with crosses or something, and you're shanking the ball like every cross, because your mentality is so off because it's all about you, that I'm like, go sit on the bench. Like, go sit on the bench. Like,
And
you're ruining.
that's another thing.
It's been that bad, Mike. It was that bad. Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, you don't understand how important clean service is until you get to this level, and you're like, listen, every ball has to go here, and, you know, every cross has to be, you know, in the middle of the 6, so the guy is, you know, prepared for game activity, right? And it's
and if you don't think a coach notices if you're over there helping and not doing it right, and if it's because of your attitude, you're wrong. Like, you're absolutely wrong.
You listen, you all have to be in sync. Like, if it's, you know, the coach, the starter, and the backup, or maybe the third goalkeeper as well, you know, you all have to be in sync for that to really, you know, for the warm-up to really work, or, you know, go about as as perfectly as possible.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Luis, and Saskia. You can add on as well too. But like, it seems to me like both of you guys are saying is that attitude really is the number one mistake that a reserve goalkeeper makes when they're trying to prove that they should be a starter. Are there any others that you can think of that might help some young players out here who might be in that situation?
I think there's a book out, and I don't like the book out for us for a while ago. It's called The Role of the Reserve, and by Lauren Gregg, and now we call them game changers, which I like that name a lot better. But it really is an all encompassing thing, Mike. It's just really understand. It's not saying this is your place. Get used to it. It's never going to change. But there's a certain role you take on a team when you are a game changer, when you are on the bench, and when you are part of a goalkeeper union as well. And if you don't get the nod that day, if you don't get to start, what is your role? How are you going to help your team win? Are you a team player, or are you just out for yourself? And it is attitude. It's just a mental focus, like, and seeing the bigger picture. Like you said, like Luis, like, had you stomped around and not been there, and then like somebody else you wouldn't be where you are right now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't.
No, I agree. I think, it's the smallest little actions you can take. Like for me, for example, I think the past 2 years, sitting behind, Sean Johnson, I think, I took it to, I made it a point to be like, listen, I'm going to make sure that every single volley is clean. Everything is clean. And you almost have to, or at least myself, these past few years, I went into the warm up, almost as if I was as focused as if I was going to play.
Absolutely.
Right? Almost as concentrated as Sean was, because I was like, listen, I need to carry this out, and I need to make sure that, I'm ready to play as well.
Absolutely. Because you also, number one, don't know if Sean's going down in the first minute, knock on wood. Number two, what are you giving to your teammates? So like, are they seeing this? And number three, if Sean sees you on point, it's going to heighten him being on point as well.
It's interesting, Luis, because I've seen, and I'm not going to name any names or whatever, but I've seen goalkeepers, in all sorts of different leagues come into a situation where they've either been drafted, or they're a homegrown signing, and they immediately become the number one for their club. And it almost seems like it's a detrimental thing. Like, do you feel that it's vital for a goalkeeper to spend some time in a reserve role at some level to understand what it's like in order to really appreciate the responsibilities of being a number one?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on this the last time I was on the podcast. I think, for me, it was not really an issue to when it came to game time, because I had 4 seasons at college, so it was the gameplay I had. But when it comes to a guy getting a job immediately, every single case is different, but I think in the majority of cases, having those 2-3 years of experience under your belt really help you, like I said, develop or understand the game a lot more. It's at least in my case, again, 2019, learning or sitting behind Brad and Sean, there's so many things that I learned from them, and how to carry myself on the pitch, and how to take care of myself outside the pitch. It's these are little things that you have to learn, that had I been given the job for whatever reason in 2019, I don't think I would have I would have made the cut.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you bring that up, kind of before we kind of segue into some of these clips that I want to share, because you've been killing it, man. I mean, just some really amazing work that you've been doing. Some of it, jaw dropping stuff, and then others that look like they're routine, but us goalkeeper aficionados know how important these types of moments are. But Saskia, I kind of want to ask you a little bit on what Luis just said right there in regards to learning how to be a professional, because I've seen, we're in situations now, we're in a whole new world in the women's game where it's becoming like the men's game, where people are stepping in 18, 19, 20 years old now. And it's a whole different experience for them.
Yes. Do I think you're going to see an 18, 19-year-old goalkeeper step in? No, I don't. I don't. I really don't. I mean, you have your Alyssa Thompsons and stuff, but again, when you talk to coaches, you talk to Freya, you talk to other people. I mean, Alyssa's starting, but that's rare, I think. But you can slowly integrate a field player. I think that I have yet to see, in my opinion, a goalkeeper at that age that can walk into an NWSL team and start. And there is so much that goes into goalkeeping that has nothing to do with your shot stopping ability. And, you have to be able to command respect. You have to be able to organize, communicate, understand the situations. And I don't think, I love a lot of young goalkeepers out there, but I think that what we do have here in America is college. And I think that it's a great stepping stone for goalkeepers. And you see most of the goalkeepers all the goalkeepers in the draft this year, nobody's starting. They've all been brought in. Most won a spot, but behind a major starter that's been there forever, and has a ton of experience behind them. And I think it's just a different animal. I was even just thinking about that. Just Luis, obviously, you spent the entire time in college before going on to the professional game. If you had gone to, let's say, because you went to NYCFC, man. I mean, you went to a premier club, a very professional organization in the league. If you had gone to, let's say, a club that maybe was in a different situation and they had thrown you out there because they had nothing better to do, it could have been a very different No, it could have been a very different experience. It could, but how would that be a detriment, right? So Luis gets 100%. Thrown in because he's a great shot stopper and great, great at this and that and the other. But is he actually really legitimately in the long run ready right now to be a professional? He's already said the 3 years that he spent learning and training on the field, off the field, understanding what it takes is the reason he's doing so great now. Now, maybe he did great in a couple games and stuff like that, but would that eventually have crumbled? Not that I think it would have, but would it? I mean, how many there was, tell me a goalkeeper that has walked in and sustained a professional job at 17 years old.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, there's your rare cases, your David De Gea's, your Iker Casillas, when they make a debut young and then they make a career out of it. But I think, I think once you realize it's not that easy. Maybe coming out of college, since you're still in rhythm, you're still fit. Maybe you have a good 2-3 games, and then after the third game, your body's just not responding, right? So you have to be ready to, or you have to know how to carry yourself, how to take care of yourself, to kind of navigate 10 games, 15 games, 20 games. It's different, man, because you're playing week in and week out. Your body's you're beating your body up essentially every week to be ready for the next game. So I think it's a whole challenge in and of itself. But again, when you're 17, 18, 19, it's playing 20, 25 games, it's a massive challenge.
And speaking of that, Luis, kind of before we go into these clips right now, I kind of want to have this question with you, because when you're stepping into that environment, getting drafted, the team dynamics really comes into play, type of a thing. I know we talked about, off the field and becoming a professional and everything like that, but like, how important is it for you to understand what the culture of this team is before you're ready to be a leader? And I say this because regardless of whether we have a captain's armband or not, we are a leader when you step in as a starter on the field.
Listen, I was told this since I got here, especially the way that we play, and how we want to play out, and everything. Conversations I had with the coaching staff is like, listen, you're basically you're to put it in perspective, you're almost like the quarterback when we're playing out. It's like, listen, if guys are not in their spots, you need to make sure to yell at them, even if you're 22, you're making your debut, and there's a 30-year-old veteran on the field on the wrong spot. It's like you have to be able to be like, listen, bro, you need to move to this spot because we need to create space here, and having that. But that also comes back to having a relationship with that player. You can't just like not talk to the guy all week and then try to command him, right? Like you have to make sure to put in the work throughout the week, and week in and week out, having these little conversations on the sides, like, oh, what do you think about this play? What should we do here? What about this? And as a starter, that's natural because you're always going to be talking to the starting 11. But again, as a backup, you have to make sure that you're going out of your way to almost talking to the guys like, listen, where do you want the ball? Like, do you want the ball to your feet? Do you want it in front of you? Because all these little things add up and they matter in the end. So.
Saskia, I have this question for you, and I know I said I want to get to these clips, but this is so fascinating to me because I think it's such a cool journey for people to see, when you become the starter, I think one of the things that I always hear this, in entertainment, like, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget where you came from. How important is it to give the same respect back to the reserve goalkeepers and, be humble and remember where you were, a couple of years ago?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're a union, and, you have to be able to, you want that respect, you have to give that respect. And one of the things I loved about the goalkeepers at UCLA was I could step back when I brought there were 5 of them, brought the goalkeepers together, and they would stand and talk to each other and kind of assess each other and say, hey, you did really great on that. And I would let them do it. I would interject, but I'd let them do it because it created a cohesiveness that needed to be had, so that the respect was there, just like we're talking about. When Lauren was warming up, that Hannah and everybody and Idalia were taking care of Lauren to get her prepared because they had that respect, because she gave them that respect at the same time. And so that's monumental. Don't, you're not like, hey, I'm the starter now, whatever.
But I've seen that mistake, Luis. Obviously at the professional level it's a little bit different. You're a little bit more mature than youth players. But I've seen a lot of youth players, especially around the age of 14, 15 years old. Hey, I'm the starter on varsity now, or I'm the starter on my ECNL team. Like, best of luck to you all. And it backfires because now you're not getting that clean service because people have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder against you.
Well, they don't care.
Yeah. That's true.
It's again, you have to make sure that you have a relationship with the guys. And again, I think as a group, the goalkeeping group, you have to make sure that everybody is pushing each other, but at the same time kind of giving each other pats on the back almost, right? Like when a guy does something right, or discussing plays, or like, oh, well, what about this, what about that, kind of giving each other feedback, and making sure that you're taking care of the guy next to you as well, because again, that respect, once it's lost, it's not a good environment to be in. And I've been blessed to throughout my career here to have such a great group of guys around me, and again, kind of going up the ladder, kind of reminiscing on how I was treated. So I make sure to really respect the guys that are coming up as well.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Everyone's favorite time. We're going to start breaking down some of these plays now, showing that all these years, all the work, all the time that's been put in here. It all comes down to this MLS regular season now. These are some really, really quality actions here, Luis, that you've got. This is the first one here. This is the 51st minute against Atlanta. It's an in-swinging corner by Almeida into the near post. It's slightly redirected by Parada to Sejdic. What a save right there. I think a lot of people see that final action right there, but there's so much that goes into this, to that reflex save. So first off, Luis, what's going on here in this corner kick?
Right. No, I think we were especially preparing for Atlanta, because when you have a guy like Thiago Almada on the ball, it's going to be danger set piece, every single set piece. So I think right now I'm just making sure that everybody's in their spots and, you know, kind of thinking he's going to go to the far post because there's a runner there. I saw him there. And I think I had just told Keaton, I was like, yo, just watch this run in the back. He decides to go near post and, you know, one of our guys flicks it and it ends up going to the guy in the back. And so I know he's there. I know once the ball gets passed, I know that there's going to be a shot on goal. So I think instinctively I just turn and I'm like, listen, it has to be a save. It's going to be in and around, and you know I have to be able to make this play.
You know, what I love about this, you know, and Siski, if you want to add on to some stuff right here, is that the fact is that understanding where that runner was coming from allows you to go in and cover that gap, because that's a really dangerous gap. And if you're just a split second late on that pivot, that drop step, that's in the goal.
What I'm looking at actually is that your head it moves before the ball gets there. So when this gets flicked, watch your head. It's a quick turn of your head, so you're there. See that? The ball's not even there yet. So you're not exactly following the flight of the ball. You actually see where the runner is. And hey, kids, you drop step into the goal because you're not going to get any more lateral across. And if he goes near post, you might not get to it. So you drop deep into the goal so you can actually come forward and make the save. But I love the fact that your head landed. This is something Tony DeChico used to teach me all the time, is it's like, don't go with the flight of the ball, because if you're going with the flight of the ball, once that ball's hit, you're already behind it. And so you knew kind of instinctively where that ball is going to land. The head turns, so once it lands, you're already on top of the redirection. See that?
Yeah.
So,
I didn't even know. Man, this is why you're on TV right now. This is why you're on TV right now, Saskia. And I'm in my bedroom.
But it's key. It's key because you have to be able to assess that redirection and not just follow the redirection. Think about it. The redirection, if you're following it slow like this, it hits, you're already behind on time. You're like, okay, here it goes. What's in this situation? It lands, you're already on top of it.
For sure. Yeah. I think proactiveness in this situation is key, you know, because again, kind of intuitively knowing that there's a guy there, and you know, if this gets flicked, there's danger here. So again, proactiveness in this case, you know, kind of allowed me to make this play.
Yeah. What I love about this here, is Luis, is that after the action's made, boom, so you make the save here, is the head never went backwards. The head stayed forward at the ball, on the ball. And I see so many young goalkeepers, they make an action like this,
then they have to find the ball again.
Back, and they can't have to find the ball again. And it's a
sure.
scramble.
It's good stuff. I mean, some people can say, "Oh, you parried it into set." Dude, whatever. Like,
ball's being hammered at point blank range. Are you kidding me?
You're fine. Like, yeah, let's make sure next time we see that's boxed all the way out to the top of the 18. Whatever, dude. It's not in the back of the net.
Hey, it's always gonna be better, right? It's always gonna be better.
I'm fine with it.
I want to bring up, though, the negative drop into the goal, because I think, and Saskia and I, we always talk about this, and she especially brings it up about, young goalkeepers being so literal, and they're like, well, you're never supposed to go backwards. You're never supposed to go backwards. And so they would try to stay positive in this situation, which basically they'd be in front of the ball. Yep. And the ball would be able to go right through them. Is that some instinctual thing, or is that like an actual decision that you made?
Well, I think, I don't want to come across as, saying that I think fast or anything, but I think
no, it's okay.
I think with the flight of the ball, I knew that the runner in the back post was not going to have much of an angle. So I think where I'm standing is where the ball would go if the header, there's no chance he's going to put that in the near post because of the run, right? So I knew this header would have to go back the other way.
Honestly, though, had he put it near post, being flat,
yeah,
it would have been a hard save. So, even if he kind of got it more to your left or to your left in this, I think you still could have come forward on the left side, even though you're back into the goal. So Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. Instinctually, you're understanding the flight of the ball. Like that's what I'm saying to everybody. This is like there's such another level of goalkeeping that after seeing things and seeing things and things that you understand instinctually, this ball is going to land here. I already checked where that runner was, so and naturally, how do I adjust myself?
Yeah, I think that's a big point right there. It's repetition. It's how many times you see an action, and to the point where you almost just do it in not you don't even
Second
think about
nature.
it. It's
Yeah.
second nature. So once you see an action over and over and over again in a game, you instinctually you're gonna know where to be and how to position yourself to make the play.
Speaking of positioning yourself, that's such a great segue, Luis. Thank you for setting me up like that. I really appreciate that. This is against Nashville. This is in the 5th minute. It's Randall Leal. He dribbles from midfield and plays a slip ball to Jacob Schaffelberg, who dribbles in 1v1, but there's chase on him right there. So you approach Luis, but you don't run out like a crazy person and let the ball just slip right underneath you. You approach, you steal ground, and then you hold, understanding that he does have chase on him, so he has to make a decision. You're patient about it, and then it's just a brilliant save right there like that.
Yeah, no, I think it was funny because I thought about the session, that we had done a couple of days prior to that, and it was the same setup, right? Like where you have to make a choice of like when the ball is slipped in between the center backs or the full backs, that split decision of like, do I go and just spread, or do I take space and set, right, like for the shot? And so this action happened, and as soon as the pass was played, I'm like, okay, I need to steal ground. I'm not gonna get there, and if I go all the way, all he's gonna have to do is just dink it, and the ball's in the back. The ball's gonna roll. So I step in, I set. The guy shoots the ball, and I'm in a good spot, right? So it was we actually worked on this heading into the game.
Yeah, this is a great example of what I hate, Mike. And that's kids just saying, "Oh, I'm supposed to spread here. I'm supposed to, and everything." You're too far from the ball. If you try to go into a case, if you try to spread or something, it's going over you. It's in the ball. It's in the goal. If you keep coming and you go down, it's over you. It's in the goal. Right? So the fact that you stole space, what's that mean? That means that to everybody, that means that he has got no angle. So when he looks up and he does try to shoot this, all he sees is you. And so you put yourself in a great position to make the save as opposed to giving him an easy goal.
Yeah, and I want a lot of young players out there to hear this, and maybe some young youth coaches out there to hear this. When you're yelling at your young goalkeeper, your 12-year-old goalkeeper, 13-year-old goalkeeper, come out, come out, come out. In this scenario right now, what's that going to do with a young player? They're going to panic and they're going to start sprinting at the ball. You need to understand, that they're in the moment, they're seeing the game. Let them explore and dictate what they feel is the best action in the moment, rather than you trying to joystick from the sidelines to tell them to run out at the ball.
Well, first of all, by the time you tell them to run out or come out at the ball, that's a split second too late. And if they decide to listen to you, they're now a second too late, and now it's all over. So.
Yeah. I think it's just the split decision of like, listen, do I stay? Do I hold? Do I go? It's again repetition. We did this throughout the week. I've seen that scenario. So for me, it's just about the work that you put in throughout the week, preparation.
Yeah, and then one thing I want to last thing I want to say kind of about this play right here is that, so if people notice, because they might notice the lean down, I want a lot of young players out there to notice that Luis is actually in a forward high shape when the shot is hit. That lean is a reaction to the ball being hit and to get body behind the ball. I just want a lot of young, because sometimes, Luis, people see this at speed and they go, oh, he spread right there, but he didn't.
Yeah, no, I think once you cut the angle there, he already has pressure from the outside back. I think you just have to make yourself as big as possible, and you know that you took the space, and if he slots it top corner, then it's a goal, right? Like it's an amazing goal, but it's it's the inches that you take away. I think something that I just thought about is a lot of conversations that I have with Sean is it's you almost have to make sure that you make them make the decision, not you, right? You don't give in. You make them have to make a decision of like, do I slot the ball? Do I just hit the ball as hard as I can, and just make him make a decision? Because at the end of the day, the goal is 30 times bigger than you are, right? So it's about we talked about like making it a choice for them, not you making the decision of spreading, and now he just thinks it over you, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Sean sounds like Saskia. Saskia says the exact same thing over and over again. Force them to make the decision, not you.
Yeah, I mean, but we learned that from Michelle Akers and everybody. Like, it's the last thing a forward wants. They want you to make the decision easy for them. Don't force. They know they have pressure behind them. Force them to try to beat you. It's not what they want to do.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. All right, I want to go to this here. So this is a back pass. Is that a, how do you pronounce that? Is that Kufri? Is that Brian Kufri?
Yeah, Kufre, yeah.
Kufre. Plays a simple back pass to you. There's starting to be some chase right here. So many things just happen in this play right here. And I want everyone to kind of notice all the scanning that you're doing, Luis, before you play this long ball. I think so many young kids see that and they go, oh, he just lumped the ball up the field. But no, there were so many things that went into this moment right here. So what are you seeing here when you're scanning here?
Well, I think first and foremost, they were high pressing at times, and they kind of held back at times. And the way that we work, it's I have to notice how many other players are near our buildup, and you kind of basically just counting, right? Like if there's three of us there against three of their two other forwards, maybe two midfielders attacking against four of us. If it's 4v4, the overload has to be up top, right? Like there has to be at least it's a 1v1 in the back. So once you realize that you can't really play here, then you look to the next line. And in this league, once you have a 1v1 with the back line, it's really difficult for the other team to kind of put up with that.
Why does that field look so narrow?
That because that's new NYCFC, right?
I know. Just
okay.
The angle of TV looks so narrow. Sorry.
Okay.
That's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other other podcast. It can be advantageous for some teams that for NYCFC when other teams come.
Doesn't
in,
it look really narrow, like from that angle? Sorry.
To be honest, it might be the camera angle, but
yeah, I think it's a camera angle.
I want to bring this up right here, Luis, because I think you such a great thing what you said in regards to matchups and also in regards to the situation with the build, because I think here you recognize the fact that that's Martins, right? That's Martins over on the side, right over there.
Yeah, it's on the left screen is Martins, and then Chanel top right, and Michel Linich bottom right.
So a lot of youth players right here would play this square ball or a ball into space in front to Martins right there. But that chase is right there, and then they get picked off. And then they wonder why it happened. They're like, yeah, but that player was open. But they're not thinking about the consequences of...
but it's the invitation. You have to realize that they're inviting you to play that ball for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think, there's been a lot of times where, they want you, they set the press for the ball to go a certain type of way. And then, once the ball maybe goes to Thiago here, now it's full on press, the whole midfield jumps, and, we're in trouble. So I think there has to be a fine balance where you understand, I can play this ball to Thiago, and, we're not going to get, burnt, or, kind of making their back line also, if they're high, listen, I'm going to put this ball in behind, and, that creates space in between the back line and the midfield. So it's a chess match, right? Like you kind of, pull strings, and, if you see the space, then you play the long ball. If you see, space in front of you, you play short, right? So it's this again, a chess match, right? Like you play short, and then next time you play long, and then you play short, and then you go long. It's kind of like that.
Mhm.
Before we move on to this, the next clip right here, and we'll start wrapping up because I think Saskia, has got things going on in her house as she has to keep constantly. I'm just throwing you under the bus. But I want to say that Saskia, I think a lot of young players, they think playing possession, building out of the back is playing these short balls right here, regardless of the circumstances. And then they get mad. They go, oh, but my coach tells me to play the ball short.
That's where the problem is. The problem is it's too literal. So, but a lot of times with young players, the problem is the coach. That's what the coach wants. This is what I want. And you have coaches that'll yell at a kid for saying I just don't feel that it's on. I'm feeling that press. I'm feeling that they're waiting to pick it. So I'm going to send it long. And then you got an idiot coach on the sideline, that's yelling at the kid. And allow them to actually make these decisions. You're teaching young goalkeepers how to read a game, how to assess the pressure that's in front of you, how to assess, maybe they've played it 3 times to the outside back and it's not gone anywhere. And the outside back is stressing under pressure. But don't keep doing it. Allow them to say, hey, I'm going to play short, and then I'm going to go long to back the defense up. Short, long, to manipulate them because it is a chess match. And that's another level of goalkeeping. And if you stifle a young goalkeeper from that, you're not teaching them anything. For sure.
And there's a lot of times in games where, maybe, the
I
game
said
went
idiot.
back.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. This ain't CBS. You can say idiot.
But no, yeah, I think it's maybe in a game you go back and forth for 5-10 minutes, and it's midway through the second half, and the guys are having caught a breath, catch a breath, whatever. So haven't had a chance to really rest and recoup. So these are the times when you talk to your back line and you're like, listen, we need to step up and we need to send this ball along, especially away when you have to, when you want to get a result as well. Like, listen, it's not working right now, so let's just regroup and go forward.
Yeah, and it's the opposite as well. Sometimes if you're always going high, always going long, your forwards are spent. Your attacking midfielders are spent, and now it's time for you to actually work the ball in the back and pass it around. It goes both ways.
For sure.
But you have to allow your goalkeeper to learn that and understand that and that's where we come in. We dictate the pace of a game and everything.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. I want to move on to this last play. Oh, no. So there's this is another back pass right here. And there's just, we'll watch it. It's just more calmness by Luis in the prep touches, recognizing what a pass. Just recognizing it, just cool, calm, collective. But no, but it's about breaking lines and finding the open gaps. I mean, that's really what it's all about, and not freaking out and being pressured and just booting the ball like a lot of kids do. There's obviously a lot of subtlety. I want to finish on this cutback piece because this was pretty cool. This was against Chicago in the 24th minute. Xherdan Shaqiri plays a really awesome ball out and across to the outside of the 18 right here. I think it's Brian Gutierrez that lays off this ball to Arnaud Souquet, who kind of dribbles under pressure to the end line, and then he flicks a ball up, and it's just a great decision by you, I think, in that scenario to just flick that ball over the bar and not take any chances. I want everyone to kind of see this again and just that touch. What are you seeing first off at the beginning of this play right here?
Yeah, no, I think once the play is once the ball is swung to the other side, the play has shifted. You know that the overlap is coming. So again, this is another scenario where that we practice a lot with Rob, and day in and day out, where you have the run coming from the outside back, and you either, it's again positioning, right? Do you go square to the post once he gets to the end line, or maybe he lets the ball go a little bit earlier, so then you're a little bit more open to to kind of, get a chance to get across. So in here, he chipped the ball, and I think if I try to catch this, I think maybe I fumble it. So, kind of that risk reward type thinking, right? I'm like, listen, I'm not going to risk this. I'm just going to send it over to the corner, and we'll defend this, right?
Yeah, and I love that, and I literally wrote that down in the notes about the risk versus reward assessment, danger, because if you either bobble that ball or it gets past you to the back post, that's a goal.
For sure.
That's
for sure.
That's
well,
a
it's
goal.
not only that, but if you decide to parry it out back onto the field of play, you've got two players waiting to just punish you.
Mm-hmm.
So from where your positioning was, it's just the right decision. Live to fight another day.
Exactly.
And personally,
another day.
Personally, I think the roof of the goal right here on the near post is one of the most dangerous areas as a goalkeeper, Susk.
Yeah, from that angle, that's tough. But I think that being you're only about 6 yards from the player. So, whatever he decides to do, unless he just really dinks it high over you, but that loft of that ball will let you drop, step, and get back across the goal. So there's really nothing he can do here. But I think the key is what do you do? Like, do you parry it back into the field of play, or do you say, it's just got to get out of here? And that's the right decision.
Yeah. And I think, I think this also comes into play in regards to like improvisation within the moment, as opposed to going like, young goalkeepers, like we always talk about being literal, Luis, go like, oh no, but that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to blah, 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 as opposed to more just problem solving and improvising based on the scenario.
Yeah. I think, when you see these type of things, it's easy from the outside looking in, or as someone that doesn't really play the position, is like, oh, well, you just handed a corner, right? But there's 100 different things that go through your mind here. Is like, listen, if I put this ball back in the box, I don't know who's behind me. I don't know,
right.
I don't know who's crashing into the box. If I try to catch this, is it, am I gonna get undercut? I let the ball go. The ball gets slotted or passed into the goal. So I think, at least for me, I just like to simplify things, right? Like if something seems out of place, just make the simplest decision, and then again, live to fight another day. Live to fight another day.
live to fight another day. Well, speaking of that, kind of as we're closing everything out, like Luis, you've obviously just went into this position right now, and then Saskia, you can add on as well too, because I think you've got a lot of great insight for this too. But what advice do you give to any young goalkeepers who've just moved into a starting role for, let's say, their club or their high school or their college?
Right. No, I think a lot of the times, guys kind of move in and they want to do everything, and they think 2-3 months ahead, and I want to be the goalkeeper of the year. I want to do this. I want to do that. I think it's important for guys to really peel a layer back and take it a game at a time. The small battles. Get to the next game, prepare, have a good performance, and then build on that. Keep building. So because I think if you try to get ahead of yourself, it's not the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I love that. Saskia, anything you want to add?
Just remember what it took to get you there. It's not taking your your foot off the gas, but it's remember the effort, remember the amount of time and the hard work, and don't stop doing that, because that got you there. Continue the hard work, continue the focus, continue the professionalism, the humility, take it through. That's why you're there.
Yeah. Fantastic points, guys. Wish I was ever a starter, but it must be nice. I'm a starter on a men's team. Anyway.
I knew you were going to say that.
I have a game tonight at 9:20 at night.
I was
falling
every
asleep on the
episode.
field.
He
set it up. He set it up. Yeah.
I did set it up. Luis, what matches you guys got coming up?
We got Nashville home this week. So
Nashville at home this week. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you taking all this time, man. I mean, congrats with the whole journey and everything like that. If people want to connect with you directly, where's the best place for them to do that?
I guess through Instagram, Wicho Barraza. That's I guess the best way to get a hold of me.
See, did you see the doubt in his voice right there? That's probably because he gets so many DMs in there that go to that spam box, which means it's probably better for Luis to join the Union sports community.
There we
like
go.
Everybody else. It's a goalkeeping app just for the goalkeeping community. It's a private safe space to engage with top educators, top coaches, people like Luis, Saskia, myself. If you want to join, you can just click there on that smart link right over there. If you want to be featured on the show, start engaging on the platform, guys. We are picking one lucky member every month to be featured on the podcast. It's completely free. We got upcoming webinars with some top names. There's a lot of really good stuff there. It's totally worth it. And if you want to reach out to Saskia there, she'll get back to you on a DM right there because it's at Saskia. It's just you at Saskia.
It's at Saskia_Weber. That's all my handles except for the Union is just Saskia Weber. So
no, it's just Saskia.
It's just Saskia. Sorry.
It's just Saskia. It's like Prince. It's just Saskia.
Hey, if I tell you all the time, if it was like Jen, then I wouldn't use it. It's unique. So it's not like it's Mike.
That's very true. Or Luis.
No,
Luis is that there's like
again,
17.
Mike, be a starter and you could just use one name.
Oh man.
You walked
by the end of the season. You
walked into that.
No, but listen, Luis's jersey on the back is just going to say Luis. It's just going to say Luis on the back right over there.
I love it.
Guys, if you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion, contact at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. That is the handle right there on the Union. Or you can reach out to us at contact@insidethe18media.com. Also, shout out to all you guys who've been supporting the platform, whether financially or whether just sharing content on there and asking questions. We really, really appreciate that. Our goal is to reach $1,000 of support by the end of May. So keep going on there. There's a support link over there. We really, really appreciate it.
Really quick, did I see Maddie pop in and say congratulations in the very beginning about the Hall of Fame? If I did.
You did.
Thank you, Maddie, and congratulations on Alabama. I will be watching you.
All right. And congratulations to Maddie on her commitment to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide, right?
That's Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Roll Tide. What's the Marquette thing, Luis? Is it Fly Eagles Fly, like the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, something like ring out Ahoy or something like that. I don't know.
Oh my!
I was a knight. Are you rah rah?
You were.
There you go.
You were.
There
you
go.
were.
Are you rah rah?
Are you rah rah? All right, guys. That's all the time on Inside the 18. We are out. Later, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.